Welcome to the Black Educated Tea podcast where we have conversations on how Black women navigate through life and education. I'm your host, Makeda Marine. I'm a life coach and strategic consultant. In this safe space and in this podcast, we have conversations on how we balance and navigate through life, education, corporate America, entrepreneurship, motherhood, love, just so many topics. It's just endless. Please join us for the Black Educated Tea podcast so you can be a part of these magnificent conversations. Welcome to the Black Educated Tea podcast. I'm your host, Makeda Marie, and today's topic is New Year's resolution. But, as always, before we get into the tea, let's get into this tea. So I'm actually just drinking a lavender tea today. Something really simple, something really refreshing, really relaxing. New Year coming, and so, your girl is really busy, and so I just need something that's going to relax me. So I have lavender tea here, and lavender to me is not sweet, so I added some, sometimes I add agave, but I actually added honey to it today. So I'm just drinking the lavender tea with honey in it, and like I said, I love the smell of lavender. Whether you just spray it around your house, you drink it as a tea, whatever. But I'm drinking lavender tea today with a little bit of honey. So let's go ahead and get into this topic. And this is not going to be a long episode at all. Because, when it comes to New Year's resolutions and, those type of things, mine looks different now. Because each year I would come up with all these different New Year things that I wanted to do. And a lot of them I would accomplish and a lot of them I would do. But I guess I stopped putting so much pressure on myself. I would say last year. So for years I would come up with all these New Year's, going to the gym, weight loss, and I want to have this certificate, this degree, or whatever it was, by the end of the year. I stopped putting so much pressure on myself. I really did. And I just started letting things flow. And so what I've done, like I did for this past year and this year, whatever I had on my list for previous years that I did not complete, I was like, I would just bring them over to the next year. And I'm like, well, I can work on it this year or whatever. And if it gets done, it does. If it doesn't, it just doesn't, But I stopped because what I realized is I would start out the new year really good. If I wanted to start going to the gym, I would start out with a bang. I would start out really good going to the gym, exercising really good, eating good, and come March, I started slacking up at the gym and started getting more cupcakes and and sweet teas and from McAllister's and yeah. So so by March, a lot of the things that I was so dedicated to do when the new year started, life would get in the way and I would start to slack up on those things. So I no longer do New Year's resolutions anymore or, New Year's strategies or whatever, people call it. I just go with the flow and whatever it is, it is. I start, and it works for some people. It works for some people. It didn't work for me. Because I don't know if it was just the hype of, it's the new year. Yeah, I'm going to bring in the new year and I'm going to eat right. I'm going to exercise right. I'm going to make sure when it came to school, I'm going to study more. Just knowing that a new year was coming for me was exciting. So I wanted to start the new year off right, which we all do, which I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to start the new year off right, but I'm not going to start these things when the new year comes. I'm going to start them now. So that's how I started looking at it. Instead of waiting until the new year to go to the gym, I'm going to go to the gym today. Instead of waiting to the new year to, get my juicer out and start juicing and drinking more water, I'm going to do it today. Instead of me taking time to rest or relax, instead of saying, I'm going to do this in the beginning of the year, I'm going to do it now. Life is not promised to any of us. And instead of waiting and, I start saying I'm going to do it now. And it's just as simple as things around my house. I'll be like, oh, I'm going to get to washing that laundry, the next day or two. No, let me just go ahead and get to it now. Oh, I need to organize my closet. I'm going to get to it, 2 or 3 weeks from now. No, let me get to it today, or let me make sure that I, find time in my schedule in the next day or two to get it done. And so that's why I told myself I don't necessarily want to do New Year's resolutions anymore, because whatever it is, I want to just do it now. And so the things that I do have on my list have been things that have been from the past year or two, and I either work on them or I just don't. We have so many different things going on in life, obstacles and just life in general. It's okay to come up with new things that you want to do for the new year. That's absolutely okay. The goal is just to stick with it. And for me, I wasn't sticking with it. Come March, a lot of things I had on my list that I wanted to do and complete started off good, but 3 months into the year, it wasn't looking so good. So stop doing that, just for my peace, my sanity, and just for taking the pressure off myself. Because there was a lot of pressure on me, coming up with a list of 10 to 20 things that I wanted to do, by this month, or and mine would be so detailed. I'll be like, by February, I want to have the certificate completed. By March, I want to lose X amount of pounds. By April, I want to have this and that done. Mine would be so detailed, and I would stress myself just because I'm trying so hard to get these things done by February, by March, by April, by September. I want to have this done. I got to the point I was like, it'll get done. It will get done. And I had to stop giving myself dates on when I wanted to get things done. I know I sound like I'm contradicting myself by what I'm saying, but I just started to go with the flow. And I stopped procrastinating on things, for one, but then I stopped putting so much pressure on myself that major things had to be done by a certain time. I'll say it that way. Because, there are simple things as making sure that I rest and making sure that, I'm keeping my closet organized. Those are simple things that I can do now or within a day or two. But it was major things like trying to lose weight, trying to get a degree, certificates, and make a huge career change. And I'm trying to do these things by March and April. And I'm like, this is just not feasible. This is not feasible. I'm stressing myself out. I'm putting all this pressure on myself. And I'm like, for what? For what? Because with me, when I put my mind to it, I'm going to do it regardless. So I'm like, instead of putting so much pressure on myself to have it done by March, I just stopped making New Year ideals and resolutions. I just stopped. And I just whatever I was working on, I would continue to work on that, or whatever new idea would just pop up. But I just stopped putting so much pressure on myself, because I realized, like, it wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. So people may disagree with that, because some people may be like, I have to have a New Year's resolution, because if I want to lose weight, I have to start in the beginning of the year. That's a way that I know if I start in the new year that I'm going to keep it going. And it works for some people. It just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. So I'm not waiting to do anything. Anything I want to do, I'm just going to do it now. But I'm not going to put pressure on myself. I'm going to give myself grace and mercy, and give myself a peace of mind of knowing that if it's not completed by a certain day, it's going to still get completed. So I'm not putting pressure on myself. Of course, I'm not procrastinating either, but I'm giving myself the space and the grace to know that it is what it is at this point. It is what it is. I have too many things on my plate as it is. I guess that's another reason why I kind of stopped doing New Year's resolution, because I'm like, I already have so many things on my plate as it is. I don't need to add anything else to it. So let me just continue to focus on what I'm doing now. And once I get those out of the way, then maybe I will come up with another list of things that I can do. And it could be mid-year. Because you don't have to always do it at the beginning of the year. You can do it anytime you want to. Anytime you want to make a change in your life. Anytime you want to change eating habits, lose weight, change careers, change relationships, whatever it is. Whatever you want to do, you can do that at any time. You don't have to do it because it's, January the 1st and a new year has occurred. No, do it anytime. That's my motto. That's what I'm living by. I'm going to do it now. I'm not going to wait till the new year. I'm not going to procrastinate, but I'm still going to give myself the ability to rest and not pressure myself to get things done by a certain day because it's a new year, And I love to hear what ideals people have for the new year. I love to just see, people list and just hear about what they say they're working on for the new year. And, losing weight is always a major one. Going back to school is another major one. Starting a business, I get so many clients in the beginning of the year that want to start a business. And, and there's motivation behind that as well. When a new year come and changes come, there is motivation behind that because a lot of people start their business in the beginning of the year. You start going to the gym in the beginning of the year. So there is motivation behind it. The key is just to keep that motivation going. So that's the key to when you come up with New Year strategies and resolutions is, you have that kick and you have that motivation in the beginning of the year. The notion of that is to keep it throughout the year, because I have so many clients that come in and they get their business started and everything. I mean, we're on a roll from like January to March, and come April, I have to start reaching out to them and like, hey, okay, what's next? Are we looking for grants if it's a nonprofit? Are we doing a business loan? I mean, what are we doing next? So I have to reach out to my clients a lot because I notice around April, May, they start slacking up a little bit and, if their attention deters to something else, or life just happens, or they get so consumed and focused on work itself that their business, gets pushed to the back. So, there's just so many different factors that come into play, but I've even noticed that for business owners, start out really good in the beginning of the year, and then it just kind of, start lacking up. And that's with a lot of things we do. And like I said, I'm guilty of that. I've said that with the gym, and I've said that with so many other different things. I start out good in the beginning of the year, and then the motivation just kind of starts to decrease. So we must definitely find a way to keep that motivation going throughout the year. The same motivation we have in January, come September, October, November, December, we still have that same motivation for no matter what it is. So I love to hear people ideas on their New Year resolutions and what they want to do, bringing in the new year, how that looks for them, what they want to partake in, what they did last year that they don't want to do this year. Like I said, I'm not coming up with any new ones. I'm going to just continue with the ones that I have, and if something new does come up, it's just something I'll do. But I'm not going to create a list, not yet. I'm not going to create a list. I'm just going to continue with the list that I have, the things I need to work on and complete. And once those are, then maybe I'll add a couple more things to my plate. But right now, I'm like, it's not humanly possible for me to try to add anything else on my list to do. So I can just improve what I already have on my list and keep working on it. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to add anything else additional to it right now. But I would just love to hear what are some of the things you're going to put on your list. What motivates you as well. When you get to March, April, May, for those that are still in the gym at the time and putting in the work, what continues to motivate you to continue to go to the gym? For those that are in school, and what keeps you motivated? Once you done got enrolled in school and, here it comes April, or you about to hit that second semester in the summer or fall, what still keeps you motivated during that time? I would just love to hear what are your New Year's resolutions, what ways do you keep yourself motivated to keep on keeping with those New Year's resolutions? And as always, just share your thoughts, your comments, and this is the Black Educated Tea Podcast.